just played two different modes for you. A little bit of improv on what I call the Spanish mode, the bullfight one, and another one a little bit emotionally cooler. Called Dorian. Now, I haven't really seen many people talk about anything but the inventory in these different modes. They'll give you a weird Mediterranean name from 2,000 years ago and give you a note inventory, but not talk about what they're used for, what the sound is like, and so forth. So let's get the names out of the way first. We'll use the white notes on the piano as our model. Here's the C scale. That's a mode 2. It's called Ionian. We call it C major. There are other scales using the same notes as the C scale, but starting on a different level of the scale. So we go from C to D and run a C scale, all white notes, from D to D. That's called Dorian. And do not worry about the names. They carry no meaning other than just a label. You could call these Scotch and Soda and 7-Up if you wanted to. The names have no real context today except they came from certain areas of the Mediterranean. So we don't worry about the names. They won't convey any information. Anyway, we go to the third note of the scale of C, of our original model scale. It becomes E. And it sounds strange because it doesn't have a whole step at the beginning. Let's deal with that one first. The E scale has a lot of character. I call it the Spanish bullfight, the obole type of scale. So you start from E and go on up. It doesn't convey that much but until you add the harmony. So this is an E minor type of scale. Here's an E minor chord. Here's E major. But the harmony accompanying this sort of weird E minor scale is in fact an E major chord with a black note. There will be a clash between the G natural of this Lydian scale and the major, the G sharp of the harmony, which gives it that kind of cool sound. It's a kind of a blues scale. Now this came to Spain from the Arabic countries, and they don't have a fixed pitch system. They don't have in-tune instruments. So the Spanish people had in-tune things like guitars and keyboards. So they sort of split the difference and said major harmony, minor melody. Okay, now you're good to go. So what are the chords in this little system? E is 1, F is 2, G major is 3. The only black note you will encounter then is the G sharp. So now what do? To make the scale work, do anything you want to in the white keys from E to E and make the chords do all the work. How about E to F to G, so forth. Very jazz-like, and that's why probably Miles Davis did the Sketches of Spain recording, one of the greatest recordings of the 1950s, using this sadness in these blues notes. Moving on to Dorian. Okay, using our C as a model. The second note of the C scale is D to D. Now this is not the key of D minor. There's a difference between the key of D minor from Europe and D Dorian. And the difference is in D minor from Europe, you think of D as the home note. If you do that, you'll tend to sound like folk songs or sea shanties. But in jazz music, the Dorian mode, the D is really a 2 chord in the key of C. Okay, relating to the key of C, basic harmony. If the final chord of a piece is C, the one that preceded it is probably going to be G7th. Okay, this goes back hundreds of years. If the second chord to the end of a chain of chords is G, as we said, going to C, the one that precedes the G will probably be a D. Okay, it's called 2-5-1. D is the 2 of the C scale, G is the 5. Okay, D Dorian then is as if you're going from D to G, but never going to C. It's D minor and G, but the home note in your mind has to remain C, otherwise it's not Dorian anymore. It's just plain D minor. So here we go. Think of T for 2. It goes D, G, D, G, D, G. That's not quite the same. And I keep C in mind, right? So a little bit improv. Here's D minor improv with D as the home note. It won't sound like jazz. But you go to the Dorian thing. If you do that, think of C all the time as Do. You'll sound like Wes Montgomery, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, McCoy Tyner. If you do the D minor as the key of D minor, it's fine for folk music and hornpipes and Irish jigs, but it won't be the real deal. So keep in mind, D Dorian is not the key of D, it's the key of C. Finally, moving on to the 4 chord. This is called Lydian. Okay, here's C as our home note. It sounds like it should have a B flat. It's a weird F scale with one wrong note. Here's an F scale. Raise the B flat to B natural. No black keys allowed in our C model here. That one jumps right out. It's merry-go-round music. It's playful music for movies. It's childlike. I think Chick Corea did that kind of stuff, you know. Chick Corea's children's songs. Okay, let's review it very quickly. Key of C is the model. The Phrygian is the Spanish one. E to E. The Dorian is the cooler one, a little more nebulous. Milestones by Miles Davis. It's the D minor to G that never goes to C. Finally, the Lydian scale, built on F.